Hey Troy and Christy, this is Andrew. I just wanted to show you how I'm working through this and where we are. You bought it at the top of the market. I didn't remember that it was 2007. So you paid 157. The house is listed as 12, basically 1,300 square feet. I've got another measurement that has it at, let's see if I can find it. Those two are the tax record. This one has it at 1311. So I'm doing my math based on 1311. I'm going to see if I measure if it comes out higher. Sometimes on a one-story house, it'll come out a little higher. On a two-story house, because of the way you measure, a lot of times the tax record's the higher number. So I'm going to try to, I don't usually do the measures unless there's a discrepancy I think might work in my favor. In this case, I think it will. So hopefully we'll get to at least 1311. This is your neighborhood. Of course, only the closed ones right here count as comps, but it's still very helpful to see what people are getting, how close they are. Now, I went back a year. That's too far for an appraiser, but lets us get a good look at your subdivision. So if I'm hovering over the sales price, you see $91 a square foot, 94, 97, 103, 105, and 110 and 112. Okay, so here's the important thing to recognize is that all of these high ones, 110 and I think it's 110 and 111, are still inferior to your house. So we're going to flip through these. This one has the garage. That's nice. But I've been in this house. You know, it's got a cheap kitchen, but a remodeled kitchen, cheap floor. Let's go back to the other one. This is the one I sold. It was really cute. Had lots of updates that needed to be done. Kitchen again, old kitchen, not near as nice as it kind of looks at first glance. I sold this one, so it's the old cabinets with new doors and paint. So what it really comes down to is that only gets us to 144 if we take the higher of those comparables, and then they're going to average in some other comparables. One of those is going to come in from your neighborhood, so two comparables from inside your neighborhood and one from outside. So I'm assuming that any appraiser is going to take at least these. Now, the other thing too is the higher ones, they're actually in decent condition that sold for 110, 112 a square foot or larger. But appraisers usually don't make allowances for inversion. In other words, they want the smaller houses comparable. So they may end up taking these as the neighborhood comps. I just can't guarantee that. So here's the play we're going for, and we're going to put the burden on the appraiser and try to get the highest loan to value ratio buyer we can get. Is we're looking at the rest of Donaldson. So basically your own neighborhood's hurting your own neighborhood, and it's not because it's not one of the most sought after neighborhoods, it's because you just happen not to have any really good remodeled houses to sell in the last little bit. And also that other one that I sold for like 180 something, 185. If you only counted the upstairs square footage, that was an incredible deal. The basement was very, very, very rough. So that one, if he makes the adjustments, then that one will actually work in your favor. But again, appraisers don't want to make any jumps they don't have to. So they're probably going to go for those two 1,300 square foot houses at like 100 and 105. And then they're going to go look outside the neighborhood. Now, you can make a really good argument on these Bluefields houses that they're actually more similar to your condition. That one's ridiculous. That's a log cabin. That one's not a comparable. Let's just hover over it. 139 a square foot and 113 a square foot. That one's not helpful. 139 is. But cutting out the Bluefields houses, just take those down. These are very, very, very comparable, and that's 122 a square foot, 117, 122, 113, 109, and then 121. And honestly, they're not as nice as your house. So if we start with the highest one, 122 a square foot, this is not as good of a neighborhood. We know that, but appraisers don't know. Julie sold this one. So this is a sharp little house. Still, again, doesn't have the kitchen that you have. Let's go to another one. 117 Donaldson wood. So just outdated. Nice cabinets, just not nice. I mean, they're nice in their day. Does have the 2-car garage. That's about a $10,000 hit right there. $167 on this one, exact same square footage you have. And look at this. So I say all that to say, you're probably looking, and this is, from my perspective, let me go back, I'm on the wrong list. From my perspective, or for any marketing perspective, you are looking at the highest, some of the highest comps per square foot. Cutting out Bluefield, so let's go to Blue Hill, 122, 117, 122 again. I think that those three would be my best comps, and yours would actually be nicer than that. So if the appraiser made adjustments, we could be talking about 125 a square foot, if that makes sense. However, we have to keep in mind what we're going for is trying to sell at 125 a square foot, hoping that an appraiser will look at it the way we look at it. But we're not going to sell to the appraisers, we're going to sell to the buyers, and the buyers will recognize the value. However, even the buyer might use the appraisal, if it comes in low, to try to leverage a better price. And I think we talked about this the other day, but my approach with people who are savvy enough with money that they understand, you know, that basically we want to get the highest price possible, and it's just going to be a little bit of a headache, is that we're going to have to negotiate again when that time comes around. I would be comfortable listening. If we got comps 122 a square foot, you'd be at 159. I would be comfortable listing at 130 a square foot, just because I think someone is going to be willing to pay that because of the condition of the house. So I'd put your house at 169, which is 170, 169.9, knowing that our probable sales price is about 155. So that's a huge spread. Normally I wouldn't have that big of a spread, but your own neighborhood's dragging you down just because you haven't had the right sale. The one that I have coming up isn't going to help you any, and except for, again, if the appraiser would go in and say that house isn't near as nice as the other one, so we've got to make adjustments. But in my experience, we just can't get them to do that the way they should. Give you $10,000 for your kitchen, even though it's a $20,000 kitchen, just right off the bat. Anyway, so I think the other house is going to come in on about 145. It would help you because your house is way nicer than theirs, and I think I'll get a contract at 145. Except, again, we have to get them to make the adjustment. So my suggestion is we sell for 170. I don't know your payoff, and we try to sell for 170. Be prepared to sell for as little as 155. And then I'm going to upload this, and I'm going to do the analysis on the other house.